I accidentally didn't use my phone for an entire day, and I thought I'd report back on this small little incident, and hopefully you may be able to find a little bit of value out of it in one way or another. But so you can understand the context of how this actually happened, I was going to college one morning and I simply just left my phone at home, and I didn't really run back or anything to sort of get it. I just completely forgot it, and by the time I was there, I was too far away from my house to sort of end up going back and getting it or whatever. And so I just had to kind of live and not be able to sort of do as much as I would be able to do in college, because you have to use your phone to get onto certain things on the computers, because it's got two-factor authentication, etc. And this meant that I had nothing to do for the majority of the day. It was quite interesting yet relaxing experience. And while from sort of the hours of 8 till maybe around 4, I couldn't use my phone because I was at college, and you can use your phone where I go to at college. It's not like the whole sort of primary school, secondary school, where it's completely sort of banned and outlawed. You can use it to sort of call your friends, message them, etc. if they're off-site or whatever. And it's not something that's completely puritanical. It's a lot more relaxed. And so while if I was at secondary school, it wouldn't be too much of an issue, but here, because you actually kind of need it for some things, it became a little bit frustrating and a little bit annoying, which kind of just shows how much of a technology dependence we have in our lives in the modern day. We need technology for so many things, to access knowledge, etc., friends, social lives. All of this sort of depends on technology nowadays, which I simply didn't have access to for simply one day. And while I didn't really experience the effects all that much, especially the sort of dependence on technology to be able to sort of do things, I kind of got to grips what that kind of feels like, and how people without technology, who sort of aren't allowed technology by their parents, etc., kind of feel about not being able to use that stuff and having slightly more of a disadvantage because they're not really used to technology in a way. And while from the hours of 9 till 4 I was at college, I then got home around sort of 5ish, I decided to just not use my phone for the rest of the day. I went off to work, did my shift, and then that was that. I got back home at around 9 o'clock, and this meant that when I got back home at 9:15, I essentially hadn't used my phone for basically 11 hours. That's a pretty long time to not use your phone in the modern day. And while some people can probably go longer, they've been on self-improvement for a while, dopamine detoxes, etc., for me, I don't go this long without my phone normally. If I'm really, really productive, I may do and just not notice it. But this day, it was kind of noticeable, and I sort of felt the effects. I was it made me realize that maybe I am actually slightly dependent on technology more than I personally like to be. I'd like to not really need technology as much as I currently did, and while I will need it for things like college, etc., I might just start to not take it out to places where I realistically aren't going to need it. I don't want to take it out when I go to the woods, when I go to work, etc. I just don't want to do that because I'm not going to really need it, and it just sort of makes you feel, when you bring your phone everywhere, right, it's the whole kind of FOMO thing, your fear of missing out. You don't want to miss out on the latest news, your text from your friend, this, that, the other. You just have to have your phone on you at all times, which, by the way, is an insane marketing tactic by companies like Apple, Android, Samsung, whatever, OneNote, all the sort of different phone companies that exist on the planet. Insane marketing to sort of develop this dependency inside of humans that we need our phones wherever we go. I kind of want to stop that amongst myself, because while I will bring my phone somewhere, I won't even use it, but it still feels like I kind of had to bring it with me, because otherwise I would just feel incomplete. It's like we've become one with phones. It's interesting, because that's kind of the sort of whole thing that you sort of see on things like the apocalypse movies, where one becomes one with technology, and this just doesn't end up ending well in the sort of movie scenario, plot, whatever. It's interesting how we've become one with our phones, we've become one with technology, AI, etc. I'm interested to see what the future holds with technology, because I think there is definitely a place on this earth for these technological advancements, but at the same time, what we cannot go too far with the sort of manipulation of psychological aspects of our own brain, with the sort of whole dependency kind of things. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and I hope you can take value out of my experience. So with that, I highly recommend subscribing, because I love this community of young tribal people who are willing to improve themselves so much more than they already have, and good luck.